crafters, I'm Lisa Fulmer, and today I'm going to show you how to make this angel door hanger. She's an angel because she has wings, and she's a ballerina, maybe because she has a tutu. Maybe she's a queen because she has a crown, multifaceted. We're going to put this on the door and revel in her sparkling beauty. So the first thing you want to do with your unfinished wood door hanger, and you can get these at most craft stores, is you want to take a sanding block and just gently sand off any rough edges and rough up the front just a little bit too. It'll take the paint a little nicer that way. And then once it's nice and smooth, you're just going to take a little bit of white gesso and give it a single coat, and that'll help us with colored paint later. Now that my door hanger has a nice coat of white gesso, it's nice and smooth, I'm going to add some silver. This is a metallic silver. After my first coat of silver is dry, I'm going to add a second coat, but I want the second coat to have a little texture. So I'm using some textured medium that's got like a little sand grit in there, and I'm going to blend that with a little bit of silver. And that's what I'm going to use to apply my second coat. And I'm going to apply it with my palette knife and just spread it on like mayonnaise on a sandwich. And it allows me to dab and do whatever I want to give it extra texture. So now after this has dried, I have this really wonderful silver textured surface, but I'm going to add even a little bit more sparkle with some translucent pink glitter paint. And we're just going to come right over the top of this. So while my lovely pink glitter is drying, I'm going to prepare some fabric to give my angel a little body. Imagine this, where the doorknob goes, is the angel's head, and we're going to create the body and her skirt and her wings from there. So I'm going to cut a piece of fabric into a diamond, and I'm going to give it a nice spritz with this tulip glitter fabric spray paint. This is the gold, and you just give it a nice spritz and then let it dry, and it'll be nice and sparkly and just a little stiffer when it's all done. So I have another piece of purple fabric here, and you can see how nice and sparkly it is once that sparkle fabric paint has dried. And so I'm just going to position it like a bodice right here, and I'm going to probably fold the tip of it over like that, and I'm just going to adhere it with some tacky glue. And then I'm going to start adhering some other embellishments, some little blings and some little washers, some little corners for the bottom, her wings and her crown. So now I've added all my embellishments. I have this little charms of a crown and some wings, and I'm adding some bling to the top of her crown. And a pair of tweezers helps a lot to get it positioned. So now I've got my edges finished off at the bottom. I gave her a little collar of washers and adhesive rhinestones. And now I'm going to set her aside for that glue to dry, and now let's make her tutu. So to make her tutu, I'm starting with some fairly thin gauge wire. Choose whatever gauge you're comfortable with, but this is fairly thin, and it comes coiled in a circle like this. So I've got my coils, I've got two ends up at the top, and I'm just going to take this circle and stretch it so it's almost like a football shape, and give it that nice little teardrop shape. And then I can spread out each coil almost like petals, and that creates a really lovely tutu. And then at the top, I'm just going to take these edges and give them a twist to wrap the petals together, and then I can play with them and position them however I want. And so when I'm done, here's one with many coils, all positioned and spread out like a little flower. I've wrapped the top with the edges of the wire, and then I put a little piece of ribbon on top of the coil of wire, and then I took one of the petals and snipped it in half, and I added some beads, and I just gave it a little twist so that gives it a little beaded accent on one side. So now I can glue her tutu in position right around the center of her bodice. I'm pretending that these 2 points of the diamonds are like a waistline. And I'm going to add an extra little bow that I tied and wrap that ribbon around to the back. To finish off your door hanger, take a chisel tip paint marker and ink the edges so you don't see that raw wood, and ink on the inside of the circle as well. And then on the back, first you want to take this and trace it onto a piece of paper and cut just inside the lines so that you can back this with a nice piece of paper. Just glue that on. I think this door hanger is pretty darn cute. I hope you do too. I might have to make one for all my doors. Anyway, it's great to see you. I'm Lisa Fulmer, and I think it's cool to craft. I'll see you next week.